Trading was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And not just, oh, the charts were confusing kind of hard. I mean, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually hard, forcing me to face myself. The kind of hard that makes you question yourself, and the kind that makes you stare at your screen at 2 a.m., wondering if you're even built for this. Every single day, the market held up a mirror and showed me my flaws, my greed, my fear, my impatience, my ego. For months, I thought the problem was my strategy. I kept switching from one system to another, downloading indicators, copying other traders, joining signal groups, hoping that somewhere out there was a secret formula that would make me profitable. But every time I thought I had found it, I'd end up losing again. It took me a long time to realize the truth. Trading was never about predicting the market. It was about controlling myself, mastering myself. And that's when everything changed. So, in this video, I'm going to share exactly what I realized. The shift that made trading go from frustrating, random chaos to something I could finally control and profit from. Let's start with the obvious, the hidden costs of trading. Trading doesn't just cost money, it costs energy, time, and mental peace. I used to stare at charts all day, afraid I'd miss something. My life revolved around entries and exits. I lost sleep, social connections, and balance. That's the hidden cost nobody talks about. Trading success isn't just about money, it's about freedom. If trading is making you miserable, you're doing it wrong. Now, I trade less, but make more. I've automated alerts, set time limits, and learned to walk away. The goal isn't to stare at charts, it's to live a life that trading can fund. Another of the biggest changes I made was keeping a detailed trading journal. Not just my entries and exits, but my thoughts, emotions, reasons, and mistakes. This journal became a mirror. It showed me patterns, emotional ones, not just technical. I realized I lost most trades after winning streaks because I got overconfident, overtraded when I was bored, and held losers because I didn't want to admit I was wrong. The more honest I got with myself, the faster I improved. If you'd like a trading journal to journal your trades, especially if you're a supply and demand or support and resistance trader, then click down on the description below to get yourself the trading journal I personally use every day to place and take trades with. I love the traditional way of recording data, pen to paper, and if you do need a journal, this journal will be of great help. Journaling turned trading into self-discovery, and it forced me to face my emotions, habits, triggers, and weaknesses. The market will test you, and your journal will teach you. When I started trading, my only goal was to be right. First, I thought skill was everything. I thought if I just learned enough, if I studied enough indicators, watched enough YouTube videos, and followed enough gurus, I'd figure it out. I was obsessed with information. RSI, MACD, Fibonacci retracements. I could recite them like song lyrics. Reality, information doesn't equal transformation. Not only that, I wanted to predict where the price would go, buy at the bottom, sell at the top, and walk away rich. I thought the best traders were geniuses who could see the future, so every time I entered a trade, I needed it to go my way. When it didn't, I panicked. I'd move my stop loss, hoping it would turn around. Sometimes it did. Most times, it didn't. And when I was right, my ego grew. I started thinking, I've figured it out. I'd start trading bigger, taking more risks, and that's when the market would slap me in the face again. I didn't realize that being right in trading doesn't matter. What matters is being profitable over the long term. The truth is, the best traders are wrong all the time. They don't care about being right. They care about managing risk. I used to think losses were failures. Now I understand they're part of the business. I knew how to trade, but I didn't know how to think like a trader. I didn't have the mental structure to deal with losses, the patience to wait for high probability setups, and the discipline to follow my own plan when emotions kicked in. I'd win a few trades and feel unstoppable, then lose one and start revenge trading immediately. I thought the market was against me. I thought my broker was manipulating me. I thought the charts were rigged. But really, I was the problem. Skill without control is self-sabotage in disguise. A good trade isn't defined by whether it wins or loses. A good trade is one that follows your plan, respects your rules, and manages your risk. Once I stopped chasing perfection and started focusing on probabilities, I began to see trading for what it really is, a game of discipline. Trading will expose every emotion you have. It will expose who you really are. It's not like a normal job where you clock in, do your work, and clock out. Here, you can make $500 in 5 minutes and lose it in the next five. It's not just about predicting price. It's about managing fear, greed, ego, and impatience. Every trader goes through this silent war. You start the day confident, but one bad trade can send you spiraling. You tell yourself you'll only risk 1%, but when that trade goes against you, you add more because you know it'll turn around. Your emotions swing between euphoria and despair, confidence and panic. At first, I thought emotional control meant not feeling anything. But that's not possible. You can't just shut off your emotions, you're human. What you can do is learn to act independently of them. I learned that trading is 80% psychology and 20% strategy, and that 20% only works when your 80% is under control. I remember one day I made a perfect setup. Everything aligned, the chart, the trend, the demand area, and the confirmation candle. I entered with confidence. But 5 minutes in, the price dipped slightly, fear kicked in, and I closed early, only to watch the trade shoot exactly in the direction I predicted. That's when it hit me. My strategy wasn't the problem. My emotions were. Most traders lose not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do what they know. And that's the painful part. Trading is a psychological battle against yourself. You don't lose to the market. You lose to your impatience, your greed, your fear, and your need to be right. You can't trade well if your brain is in fight or flight mode. You can't see clearly when your heart rate spikes and your ego screams, "Get your money back." That's how you blow accounts from emotion. Also, when I first started trading, I thought the more I traded, the more control I had. If I was in the market all the time, I'd catch more moves. That was the lie I told myself. In reality, overtrading was the fastest way to lose everything. I was chasing every candle, reacting emotionally, and trying to control outcomes I had no power over. The market doesn't care about your analysis, your bias, or your plan. It will do whatever it wants. The market doesn't care who you are, how hard you work, or how much you need the money. It's cold, emotionless, and until you become calm, patient, and disciplined, it'll keep taking your money like a silent thief in the night. So, the moment I accepted that, I stopped fighting it. You can't control what the market does, but you can control how you respond. You can control your position size, stop loss, risk management, emotions, and patience. That's when I realized trading isn't about control, but acceptance. The more you try to control the market, the more it controls you. The moment you accept uncertainty, that's when you truly gain control. Something to always keep in mind is that there's a dangerous mindset that ruins traders, chasing the next big win. I used to think one big trade could change my life. I'd wait for that perfect setup, double my position size, and dream of the profit I'd make. Sometimes I got lucky, but luck is the worst teacher in trading because it tricks you into thinking recklessness is skill. Sometimes, even recently, I get it wrong. A single oversized trade wiped out everything I had made in a week. So I always continuously remind myself, even as a profitable trader, that trading isn't about one big win, but about 1,000 small disciplined wins compounded over time. You can't treat trading like a lottery ticket. You have to treat it like a business where consistency, not luck, determines success. The best traders don't look for the next big win, they look for the next high probability setup where their edge plays out over time. Another reason trading was hard for me is that I didn't have enough capital. Let's be honest, small accounts are the hardest to trade. When you have $100 or $500, every dollar matters. Every loss feels personal, and every win feels temporary. You start risking too much just to make it worth it. Take trades you shouldn't, scale up too fast, and then you blow up. That's what happened to me so many times. It wasn't until I stopped trying to get rich quick that things started turning around. So, keep this in mind. Small accounts are for learning, not earning. If you want to grow in trading, focus on building skills, patience, and discipline before capital. Because once you have them, capital will follow through consistently, funding programs or investors. But without skill, patience, and discipline, even $100,000 won't save you. Talking about patience, one of the hardest lessons I had to learn in trading was waiting trading rewards, patience, not activity. Yet most people can't sit still. I used to open charts every hour looking for something to trade. I thought if I wasn't trading, I was missing out. But the truth is, most of the time, the best trade is no trade. Patience is a superpower in trading. It's not just about waiting for the setup, it's about waiting for your emotions to settle, waiting for confirmation, and waiting for your edge to appear. Once I learned to wait, my accuracy increased, stress decreased, and accounts started growing. Patience is what separates the gambler from the professional. There was one day that changed everything for me. After another series of losses, I closed my laptop and said, "Enough." I took a week off. No charts, no analysis, just reflection. When I came back, I didn't open the chart to predict anymore. I opened it to observe. I stopped trying to control the market and started trying to understand myself. I journaled every trade, not just the technicals, but my emotions. Why did I enter? Why did I exit? How did I feel before, during, and after? That's when patterns started emerging, not in price, but in me. I noticed I always entered early out of fear of missing out. I exited too soon when profits started showing. I increased size after losses to get back. The market wasn't my problem. My psychology was, and that realization changed everything. At some point, I deleted all my indicators. I kept only price action and volume. That's when trading became peaceful. I realized I didn't need to predict. I just needed to react to what the market was showing me. Simplicity creates clarity, and clarity creates confidence. Now my system fits on one page. I know my entry rules, exit rules, and risk management plan. Nothing fancy, just consistent execution. And that's the real secret trading rewards consistency. Also, professional traders don't see themselves as traders. They see themselves as risk managers. When I started treating trading like risk management instead of gambling, my whole perspective changed. Now, before any trade, I ask one question: how much am I willing to lose? Because in trading, your only real job is to control the downside. The upside will take care of itself. Once I limited my losses, something magical happened. My winners started growing naturally. By playing defense first, I learned how to survive long enough to thrive. Most people fail in trading not because it's too hard, but because they never learn self-mastery. They want results without discipline, profits without patience, and freedom without sacrifice. They quit when it gets uncomfortable, or worse, they keep repeating the same mistakes hoping for different results. Trading rewards the few who take full accountability, who stop blaming the market, the broker, or bad luck, and start asking, "What can I control?" If you can master that mindset, you'll already be ahead of 90% of traders. The people who win in trading aren't the smartest, the most analytical, or the most experienced, they're the most disciplined. They treat trading like a business, not a hobby. They follow their plan when it's boring, stay patient when it's slow, and manage risk like professionals. They understand that trading is a long game, a game of survival first, success second. The winners are the ones who not only chase money but also chase mastery. Trading was hard, brutally hard, until I realized this. It was never about the market, but about me. The charts didn't make me lose, my emotions did. The setups didn't fail me, my discipline did. Once I stopped blaming and started taking ownership, I finally began to grow. Trading became easier not because the market changed, but because I changed. And if you're watching this, frustrated, questioning whether you'll ever make it, you will. But not when you find the perfect strategy. You'll make it when you master your mind. That's the real edge. That's what separates winners from quitters. So, if you're struggling in trading right now, remember this. You're not failing. You're learning. Every loss is feedback, every mistake is a lesson, and every chart is a mirror showing you who you are. Don't quit before the breakthrough. Don't chase shortcuts. Master your discipline, patience, and yourself, because once you do, trading stops being a battle and starts becoming a business. And that's when I finally understood. Trading was hard until I realized it's not about the market. It was always about me.